Celebrities who have died in 2025. The entertainment industry has already lost several notable figures in 2025. The film world was shaken by the death of Blue Velvet and Twin Peaks director David Lynch, with tributes to the visionary filmmaker continuing for weeks. In music, Garth Hudson, the last remaining member of the band, died in January, while Peter, Paul, and Mary lost Peter Yarrow. Notable actresses who died in January include Joan Plowright and Leslie Charleson. In 2024, the entertainment business said goodbye to stars including Shannon Doherty, Bob Newhart, Louis Gossett Jr., Donald Sutherland, and James Earl Jones. Jeff Baena, a screenwriter and director whose credits include the offbeat comedies The Little Hours and Life After Beth, died January 3rd. Baena was the husband of Aubrey Plaza, who starred in his films The Little Hours, a 2017 black comedy set in a 14th century convent, and Life After Beth, a zombie satire. RuPaul's Drag Race UK winner James Lee Williams, better known by their stage name The Vivienne, died January 5th. They were 32. Peter Yarrow, one-third of the chart-topping 1960s folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary, co-writer of the song Puff the Magic Dragon and a prominent social activist, died January 7th at his home in New York City. Sam Moore, who had classic hits with the soul duo Sam and Dave in the 1960s, died January 10th in Coral Gables, Florida. He was 89. Soap opera icon Leslie Charleson, who for decades played Monica Quartermaine on General Hospital, died January 12th after a long illness. Director-writer David Lynch, who radicalized American film with a dark, surrealistic, artistic vision in films like Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, and network television with Twin Peaks, died January 15th. Joan Plowright, star of Enchanted April and the widow of Laurence Olivier, died January 16th. She was 95. Garth Hudson, whose fantastical approach to the organ and virtuosity on a panoply of other instruments lent a distinctive touch to the roots rock of the Canadian-American group The Band, died January 21st. He was the last surviving member of the band. Garth Hudson, last surviving member of the band, dies at 87. Retiring and seldom interviewed, Hudson was the quiet man in the group that began life as the Hawks, Arkansas-born rockabilly singer Ronnie Hawkins' backup band, who in 1966 graduated to supporting Bob Dylan on his tumultuous first tour as a rock and roll performer. After woodshedding with Dylan in West Saugerties, NY, where Hudson served as recording engineer for Dylan and the group's legendary Basement tapes, the musicians stepped out as the band on a stunning 1968 debut, Music from Big Pink. That album and the self-titled 1969 sequel established them as one of the day's top rock acts. In a typically self-effacing and typically rare interview with the Canadian magazine Maclean's in 2003, Hudson, the only band member who never contributed vocally on stage or on record, minimized his unique accomplishments. "It was a job," he said. "Play a stadium, play a theater. My job was to provide arrangements with pads underneath, pads and fills behind good poets. Same poems every night." He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the band in 1994 and received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy in 2008. The group became part of the Juno Awards Canadian Music Hall of Fame in 1989. He was born Eric Garth Hudson in Windsor, Ontario, on August 2, 1937, and grew up in the northeastern city of London. His family was musical. His father played flute, drums, cornet, and saxophone, and performed in local dance bands, and his mother played accordion. He grew up listening to country and jazz. His first public experience in music was playing hymns in an uncle's funeral parlor. In Helm's 1993 memoir, This Wheel's on Fire, he recalled, "My parents sent me to study piano at the Toronto Conservatory. I had a good teacher who used older methods and older pieces. That's how I learned to play the Bach preludes and fugues, material like that. I loved Chopin, and Mozart amazed me. But I found I had problems memorizing classical annotated music, so I developed my own method of ear training and realized I could improvise." After a year studying music at the University of Western Ontario in London, he dropped out and began to play professionally. In the late 50s, he worked with the regional bands The Silhouettes and Paul London and the Capers. His abilities caught the attention of Helm, who lobbied Hawkins to bring him into the Hawks. Garth was different. Hawkins told Barney Hoskins in Across the Great Divide, his 1993 book about the band. He heard all sorts of weird sounds in his head, and he played like the Phantom of the Opera. He wasn't a rock and roll person at all, but it fitted Hudson, who was paid an additional $10 per week to teach his bandmates music, to mollify his dubious parents. Became the eldest member of a lineup that included Helm, Robertson, Manuel, and bassist Rick Danko. As part of his deal, he ultimately was rewarded with a new Lowrey electronic organ. Hudson found it more versatile and easier to manipulate than the popular Hammond B3. A gearhead and tinkerer by nature, he customized the instrument, perhaps most importantly with a pitch-shifting device, and it became the keystone of his sound.